What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to more Let's Play Pokemon Platinum. In the last episode, we sort of began our adventure, although we haven't really gone anywhere all that much. We got ourselves our very first Pokemon, though, which is Chimchar, and this thing actually has got a careful nature, which I'm not too bitter about. I'm actually okay with that. Anything that doesn't lower speed or physical attack, I was going to be fine with. This one lowers special attack at the expense of special defense, which, I mean, kind of comes in handy. That's not going to be a huge difference. I'm just glad that attack and speed are not lowered. If it raised attack or speed, that would have been even better, but really physical attack is what I want to go with. Although I should say, Chimchar is actually pretty evenly split in the physical and special department, at least stat-wise. It's more the types of moves that he gets that are that lean much more in the physical direction, which is why I care much more about that stat. But all right, welcome truly to the first route here in Pokemon Platinum. Now we can actually start talking about wild Pokemon that can be caught in these areas. So in this very first area, you're going to be running into three different kinds of Pokemon: Starly, Bidoof, and Kricketot. Let's start with Starly. Starly is the generic normal and flying type Pokemon of the generation. Think Pidgey in the past. Think the likes of Pidove. A lot of different games have all had their very basic flying types. Hoot as well. And Starly is no exception, although I think out of all of them, it's actually one of the best just because it really does lean into that physical attack and speed stat that all these birds are kind of centered around, but it's probably one of the most heavily weighted in that regard, at least until Gen 6, where we get Talonflame, which, although obviously that isn't a normal flying type, it is still a very strong physical sweeper of a starting bird. Really good Pokemon, definitely can't go wrong with it. I've already used it in the past, though, which is why I will not be using it in this playthrough. It's a good Pokemon. It really is a good Pokemon. You can't go wrong with it, especially because there aren't a lot of great flying type options in this game. So if you really want to pick one, I would never hold it against you. So we're going to get a free potion by talking to this guy. This is a thing that's on almost every Pokemon game, some Pokemart worker that we can go and get a potion from, which is cool. All right, let's continue. Bidoof. Bidoof is a normal type that gains a water typing when it evolves into Bibarel, which it does pretty early on. I want to say it's like around level 16, 18, something like that. Not too long. Now, Bidoof is most well known for its ability to learn a lot of HMs, which is why we are definitely going to want to catch one, especially in this generation, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Bidoof is actually pretty decent, though, and because it gains that water typing, it can get access to those water HMs, which is really, really helpful. But otherwise, it's not a super great Pokemon. I mean, it's kind of not supposed to be. It's, I think, akin to like the likes of like the Rattata line or the Sentret line. It's not supposed to be like the best Pokemon you've ever seen. It's just kind of there, and it's supposed to be kind of early game fodder, but also it can learn a lot of HMs, so you don't have to start teaching them to your main Pokemon, although I still think that that was always a dumb design decision that they went with in these games, and I'm glad that it's not really a problem anymore. Lastly, we have Kricketot, which is the resident early game bug type. Now, Kricketot itself, not very good. However, it fully evolves into Kricketune at just level 10, which makes it extremely useful in the early game because it's going to be a lot stronger than a lot of the Pokemon you're facing very early on. However, as soon as all the Pokemon you're facing start to evolve or even one stage higher, suddenly Kricketune ain't that good anymore. It's kind of something to grab to have a super good early game advantage, but after that it falls off pretty quickly, and by the end game it's going to be by far the worst member of your team, I can promise you that. Not absolutely worth going after, it's just kind of there to get that early game advantage, much like you would with the likes of Caterpie, Weedle, Pokemon like that, Wurmple, because they can all fully evolve really early, although I think even those Pokemon have a lot more application than Kricketune. Anyway, as soon as we get here to Sam Gem Town, hi, I've been waiting for you. Please come with me. The professor's waiting to see you. See, this is our Pokemon Research Lab. We'll just go ahead and get another concussion. There's Barry, again, flying out the door. What the? Oh, it's you, Don. That old guy. He's not so scary as much as he is totally out there. It doesn't matter, Don. I'm out of here. See you later. Wait, Barry, did you complete the mission? Did you get Pokeballs? What? Never mind. What was that? Your friend always seems to be in such a rush. Anyway, let's go in. And we're just going to get pulled inside. All right, let's go say hello. I love the music in the lab here. Well, look who's here. Dawn, was it? Let's have a look at your Pokemon. I see. This Pokemon seems to be rather happy. Entrusting you with that Chimchar was no mistake, it seems. Well, would you like to give it a nickname? I actually would. Now, I was really debating on what I wanted to name this Chimchar. I wanted to go with something Journey to the West, or something that relates to Journey to the West in some way, but I feel like Wukong or Goku are too obvious, and everybody sort of goes with those. So, throughout the travels of Sun Wukong in Journey to the West, he gets a lot of different titles, lots of different titles along the way that all have various meanings. And one of those titles, and one that I think is actually quite befitting of Chimchar, is Gyoja. Now, Gyoja is a term for a traveling monk, or I guess mystic is more correct. Ascetic is another term for it. And he gets called the warrior Gyoja throughout his journey, which I think is very befitting of sort of the style of what Chimchar and eventually Infernape is. I mean, it is a warrior for all intents and purposes. Now, if this had been female, I was actually going to go with May, because May is a term for someone that's beautiful or handsome. It is a non-gender specific term. And but I still like the name May a lot. I think it's a very pretty name, so I was thinking about going with that. But since we got a male, I'm going to stick with Gyoja for the traveling warrior monk. All right, I saw you about to step into the tall grass with that Pokemon. I was shocked. I was astounded by these foolhardy children, but now you've astounded me in an entirely different way. Already there's a bond growing between you and that Pokemon. I feel privileged to have met you. I'm sure Chimchar feels the same way about you. That's why I'll ask you to cherish that Chimchar of yours. Boy, am I glad you're kind toward Pokemon. If you weren't, well, I don't even want to think about it. Is that it? Is that all? No? Let's move on to the main topic. There is something I want you to do for me. Oh, hold on. Allow me to properly introduce myself first. My name, as you know, is Rowan. I study Pokemon. First of all, I want to know exactly what kinds of Pokemon live in the Sinnoh region. To do so, it is necessary to collect data using the Pokedex. This is what I wish to ask of you. I want to entrust you with this Pokedex. Will you use it to record data on all of the Pokemon in Sinnoh for me? No! I can stand here without speaking for hours. I'm a very patient man. I could just leave. No. Let me ask you again, Don. I want to entrust you with this Pokedex. Will you use it? Yes, sure, of course. Good answer, even though you gave me a bad answer first. There are no wrong answers except for the wrong answer that you picked first. That Pokedex is a very high-tech device. It will automatically record data on every kind of Pokemon you encounter. Don, I ask that you go everywhere and meet every kind of Pokemon in this region. I got the same kind of Pokedex as you. When you walked up Route 201 with your Pokemon, what did you feel? I've lived here for 60 long years, even I missed that last part. I'm just going to be completely honest. I'm with a Pokemon now. You should know that there are countless Pokemon in this world. That means there are just as many thrills waiting for you out there. Now go! Dawn, your grand adventure begins right now. Professor asked me to help, so I'm filling the Pokedex pages too. That makes us comrades working towards the same goal. Teach you stuff later, okay? Okay, Lucas. Why don't we talk to the professor's helpers here? I'm Lucas's father. I'll be happy to assist you on your quest for the professor. I'm sure we can count on you. And then are you the mother? Professor Rowan invented a new Pokedex while working alongside a professor from Kanto region. My name is Roseanne. It's an honor to be an assistant to a... Okay, no, you are not. You were just another assistant. That was wrong of me to assume. Oh, what's up, Luke? Oh, God, why is everyone yelling at me? I have something good here. You should take this as well. And we obtained TM27. That is a technical machine. That one contains the move Return. Using a techno machine, or TM for short, teaches a move instantly to a Pokemon. Bear in mind, however, that a TM is single use only. The move Return gains power the more friendly your Pokemon is with you. It's up to you, of course, if you want to use that TM or not. I'll send you off with the wish that your journey will be fun. We'll talk about that TM in a second, but Lucas is going to give us a little bit of a tour around town, show us the basics like the Pokemon Center, the Pokemart. I'll let him kind of do all that while I explain what Return is. So Return, like he said, the friendlier a Pokemon is towards you, the better and stronger it gets. Which means that early on in the game, it's actually not all that useful, so I'm not going to bother with it. There's actually one Pokemon in particular, we'll talk about it later, that I would heavily recommend giving Return to, but we'll talk about why that is. Okay, but this is important here real quick. You should let your family know you're helping Professor Rowan put together his Pokedex. Sometimes you have to go far away, so you should let someone know. But first, go heal up your Pokemon at the Pokemon Center. I'm actually not going to do that, Lucas, because if I go home, my mom's going to already do that for me. We'll come back to the Pokemon Center later. So, yeah, so Return gets stronger the longer that your Pokemon is pretty much just with you. I mean, there are ways to offset that happiness and actually make it go down along the way, but for the most part, just using a Pokemon, battling with it, not letting it faint, using healing items on it, giving it rare candies. There's also a couple of other methods, like giving it, grooming it, I suppose, is another way to do it, like giving it a nice brushing or a massage or things of that nature. All of those contribute towards a Pokemon's happiness, and because a lot of them will evolve when they meet a certain threshold of happiness, return is actually a pretty darn good way of keeping track of that happiness stat, since there isn't really a good way in-game to tell that, or at least a very reliable one at all times. So that's a pretty good move in that regard. It eventually, I want to say, hits a base power of like 100 once you get it fully maxed out. But that takes a while to get the happiness stat that high, so I'm going to go ahead and say I'm just not going to use the TM. Probably at all, actually. There might be one Pokemon I end up using it on later, but for right now, I'm just going to pass on it. Let's go say hello to Mom. Welcome home, Don. Are you and your Pokemon healthy? Take a quick rest. Okay, and see, this is what I was talking about. This is why going to the Pokemon Center would have been redundant. What is it, Don? Wow, Professor Rowan asked you to do something that big. Okay, dear, go for it. Your mom's got your back. Oh, I know, Don. I've got something that you'll find useful. And we get ourselves a journal. Now, this is going to come in handy every single time we save our game and quit. Because when you come back, it's actually going to play the last 3 entries of your journal before the game actually starts, which will let you know what you've done. Gee, a journey full of adventure. I envy you, kiddo. Plus, you're not alone. You have your Pokemon with you. Wish I could go instead. I'm just joking, dear. Yep, Don, I'll be all right by myself, so you go and enjoy your adventure. When you're exposed to new things and experience new sensations, it makes your mother happy too. But come back sometimes. I would like to see the kinds of Pokemon you've caught, dear. Uh-oh. What's going on? Excuse me, is my little Barry here? Oh, no, he's not. Oh, then he must have left already. What to do? That boy shouted about going on an adventure and then he bolted. He's so headstrong and reckless, I at least wanted him to take this. Not to worry, Don will deliver that to him. Won't you, Don? Oh, really? You do that for me? Don, please take this to Barry for me. And we obtained a parcel. Cool. Bye-bye, Don. Enjoy your adventure. Let me think. Knowing my boy, he'd probably head straight to Jubilife City. Okay, please take that to Barry. All right, we will do that for you, Miss Barry's mom. Thank you so much. And all right, off we go. Now we can start making our way back. We are going to probably have some encounters along the way in the grass, but that's okay. Here's the deal. As we head through this first route here, I am not going to be cutting these out because these are going to be important for seeing the progress of Chimchar. But until we get our hands on Repels, I am going to be showing pretty much every wild encounter that I run into, but as soon as we get access to Repels, I will not be showing them anymore. I will cut out every single wild encounter we get unless it is crucially important, like I'm either catching that Pokemon or it's against a legendary or something along those lines. Other than that, I'll be showing all the battles up to the point we get Repels, which, don't worry, it doesn't take too long for us to actually get access to those. I believe it is after the first gym. All right, up to Route 202 we go, and now, before we're allowed to do anything, Lucas is going to stop us and give us the obligatory catching Pokemon tutorial spiel that we get in every Pokemon game, so I'll just kind of let him do that while I explain the one new Pokemon that can be caught on this route, which is Shinx. Now, Shinx is a little bit of a different case, a little bit more unique. It is an early game electric type that you can get that eventually evolves all the way into Luxray. It doesn't take too long to get all the way up to its highest level or highest evolution phase, doing so in the 30s. It learns a plethora of electric attacks and also dark type attacks, but it doesn't get a dark typing to take advantage of its stab bonuses. So while they are pretty good moves, and it is primarily a physical attacker, it's not really going to be useful for much more than just electric. That said, it is, before it even evolves into Luxio at its first evolution, it's going to get access to Spark, which is just about the best electric type physical attack you could want in the entire game until like the late game. So really, really awesome to be able to get that Pokemon early. It's going to be an awesome just physical sweeper presence. It's got really decent speed, and also the fact that it can get access to Intimidate makes it even better due to the fact that its defenses aren't all that hot. In fact, its base stats in general just aren't all that hot, but it's still a really good Pokemon, and it also just looks cool. Big fan of that Pokemon, always loved using it, and I mean, that's why it's been on some of my previous teams before. But all right, we get 5 free Pokeballs from Lucas, so thank you very much. I'm going to need to hold on to these, but there's one Pokemon that I actually want to catch on this route. And before you worry about it or anything, it is not going to be a team member. It is, in fact, yep, this guy right here. I'm going to be catching myself a Bidoof before I forget, honestly, because that is something I am very prone to do. So I'm just going to try to get one of these added to my team so we can have it for HM usage, which is going to come in handy pretty soon, actually, just a couple of episodes from now. So I'm going to want to do that. No crits, please. Thank you. All right, let's catch this guy, and I don't have a super creative name lined up for him. I'm just going to call him Bucky, but he's going to stick on our team for a super long time. And I think at some point I'm going to take some time to do some off-screen training later down the road because I would like him to evolve into a Bibarel just for the pure fact that he gets a lot of water HM usage, which would be nice because I don't want to teach all of those to any of the members on my team. Maybe one of them, but not the rest. All right. So yeah, let's call you Bucky, and I keep forgetting I can actually just type this in. Golly, it's so much simpler that way. Gosh dang it. There we go. Fat-fingered that. All right, so we got ourselves a Pokemon, but we are not going to be using him for battle. We're going to just stick to using Gyoja the entire time. So let's begin. All right, it's battle time. And like I said, now we are on the path of wanting to get to level 14 as quickly as possible with Gyoja. And there's a lot of ways you can possibly do this. I mean, obviously, you can just focus on using Gyoja as much as you want. If you want to catch another Pokemon like Starly or Shinx really early on, though, that can cause you a little bit of problems just because you're needing to divide experience some. But trust me on this, just do it. With Piplup and Turtwig, there's a little less urgency because really as soon as they learn their very first stab move, grass or water, they're going to be fine for the first gym. But Gyoja needs to evolve for that gym. Otherwise, we're going to have one hell of a time. But I do have a contingency plan, and we'll talk about that contingency plan here relatively soon, probably in the next episode or the episode after that. We're getting there, though. We are getting there. But for now, just some early game battles, and we get to keep leveling up our monkey, who is going to have a pretty easy time of things right here off the bat. Because like I said, this Pokemon is so strong. It really is. I mean, I don't ever mean to be a hater, because that's kind of what I am. I'm a hater, and not even for a good reason. I'm just a hater, but it never appealed to me to use this Pokemon, and I don't know why, because honestly, out of all the firefighting starters, this is probably the best one. You can make the argument Blaziken too, but there's just so much good about this Pokemon that it's like, why wouldn't you use it? Why wouldn't you? Now, I did actually neglect to go to the Pokemart, which I probably should have done. There's a couple things I wanted to pick up there, but I think I'll be okay. I have one potion on me right now anyway, so we should be more than fine. I might not even use it, honestly. And we learned Taunt. Okay, never going to use that move ever. We're going to get rid of that pretty much as soon as possible. But Taunt is a lot more useful in other situations, specifically double battles, where you need to draw fire away from another Pokemon onto you. This is much more useful with actual tanks, of which Chimchar is not one. So I will not be bothering with that because, like I said, he's a glass cannon, emphasis on glass. Let's not use a move where I'm like, yeah, come hit my monkey. And especially in solo, there's no point in solo battle. I mean, I guess it keeps them from using status moves, but there's very rare opportunities where I actually want to emphasize that. And hello, Burmy. There you are. We actually aren't going to have access to Burmy for a little while, which is kind of weird for such an early game Pokemon. But we'll talk about that when we get to it, because Burmy's a little bit of an interesting one. There's a lot of interesting Pokemon in the Gen 4 decks, which, for all of my non-affinity with Gen 4, man, I loved a lot of the Pokemon in this region. There's so many freaking cool ones. I think out of all of the regions, this might be my second favorite design-wise for its decks, after only probably Gen 5, if I'm being honest. I really, really love this generation's design of Pokemon. Okay, there is an item over here. Let's grab that. We just get ourselves another potion, which I am not going to need. Oh, come on. I was so freaking close. Go ahead and hang on. Oh, there's our Shinx. So cute. So cute. I kind of wish I was using one, but I have another idea, and that's I got Intimidate too, which would definitely be the one that I would catch in this situation. But we're just going to move on and head off towards Jubilife City. But before we go in, right over here, where there is actually a hidden item against the wall, we got a Stardust, which we can sell at the Pokemart for 1,000 Poke. So not bad. Oh, hi, Lucas. Wait, I thought you went back towards Sand Gem Town. Why, I didn't see you go this way. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. Hey, Don, how many Pokemon have you caught? Huh? I think you should catch some more. It might be more of a challenge to raising a lot of Pokemon, but it's worth it. The more Pokemon you have, the happier you'll be. Hey, that's right. Don't you think it's better to know more about Pokemon? Sure it is. There's this great place for that. Come on, it's all right. Follow me. All right, Lucas, where are we going? Where are we going? That guy. What's he doing? Being strange? Excuse me, sir. Can you not cut off a couple of children walking down the road? What? How did you know? How did you unmask me as a member of the International Police? What? Are you kidding? I was just making small talk. Heh, you claim you were only making conversation, do you? But I know better not to believe that. No, no, no. You recognized right away that I was someone extraordinary. That is why you spoke to me, is it not? Your power of observation is fearsome. Quite admirable you are. Now that my cover has been blown, let me introduce myself. I am a globe-trotting elite of the international police. My name? No. I almost let that slip to some children. I shall inform you only of my code name. My code name, it is Looker. It is what they all call me. Incidentally, it is the saying, don't be a thief. That's not really a saying, it's just a word of advice, but okay. Sure. Yes, that is correct. Taking what belongs to others is wrong. Unfortunately, there are apparently those who do not heed those words. In Sinnoh, in fact, there are criminals stealing the Pokemon of others. I have, therefore, been on the lookout for characters arousing my suspicion. Incidentally, you are trainers, yes? Perhaps you can make use of this. And we have obtained a Versus Recorder. A Versus Recorder is a nifty device for recording a match. I obtained it because it is quite popular these days. But myself, I do not do Pokemon battling very often. It will be in better hands with you. Also, I have a request. If you were to see me again, I ask that you do not talk to me, for I am on duty. Actually, yes, you may speak to me. You must. Not because I am lonely, no. You must inform me of bad guys. You must inform me of any happenings. What a weirdo. Working for the International Police sounds hard. And here we are. This is the trainer school. The name says it all. Your pal Barry went in earlier. He might be studying in there. Okay, see you around. All right, well, we'll definitely head inside. I'm going to heal up really quickly, and then I'm actually going to go and have just a small look around town really quickly, if it's actually going to let me. I can't actually remember if there is anything that's going to stop me from doing that right now, but might be until after we've talked to Barry, but I think we'll be fine for now. So I'm just going to run around. There's a couple of items I want to grab, as well as I want to hit the Pokemart really quickly and grab a few items there that I neglected to get while I was in Sand Gem Town. All right, so I'm going to head on over here first thing. And there is a little alleyway back here. Yep, right here. We're going to grab ourselves a potion. Pretty cool. Okay, and then if we head on over here, I don't think there's any more hidden items anywhere. But is it in here? What is this place? Jubilife Condominiums. Yes. Okay. If we go on inside this building, and is it you? Your Pokemon is quite adorable. Here, try making it hold this Quick Claw. Yeah! All right. So the Quick Claw is really awesome if you ever have a slow Pokemon. Very good if you're a Turtwig user, by the way. Or Piplup, for that matter. It will give it a small chance, although when I say small, I think it's like a 30% chance of it automatically going first, even if it is supposed to be slower in that turn. The only thing it doesn't override is priority moves. So if it's a Quick Claw, even if you get the Quick Claw to activate, it's still not going to go before a Quick Attack, if that makes sense. Let's head on into the mart. Let's grab a few things. So I think I'm going to Pokeballs. I'm going to grab a few potions, just like 2. Or, yeah, so a couple. And then we're going to grab okay, there we go. Couple antidotes. Well, let's go with 5, because antidotes are dirt cheap as it is, and those might come in handy later. This should carry us pretty much up until the game is actually going to allow us to buy full heals, and then we'll get some paralyzed heals as well, because those are by far the 2 most annoying status effects in the game. You'll encounter those way more than Burn, Sleep, or Freeze. All right, that is probably going to be it for this episode of Let's Play Pokemon Platinum, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching. In the next episode, we're going to head on inside the trainer's school before we explore the remainder of Jubilife City, at least as much of Jubilife City as we can explore for now. And I don't know, maybe we'll try to set off towards Oreburgh, but what I can say we'll almost certainly do in the next episode is catch the very first actual member of our team. So with all that said, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this episode very, very much, and I will see you all in the next one.